My name is David Lei. I'm on the board of Chinese Historical Society of America. I'm a storyteller. They say I'm a historian, but really I'm just a storyteller. Was put together by United Chinese American. I met Hai Pei maybe a year and a half ago, but we really didn't talk seriously until December. And then we talked again in April to set up this conference that for the next generation and future generation, we really should talk about this subject as a group of concerned people for being Chinese in America, especially in our Chinese language schools, where there are so many kids go there that oftentimes they're just taught Chinese history, but the Chinese today now are, the kids are born here, so they're Americans. So they want to know something about Chinese American history. And we have done so much here. Since the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act, when this country excluded the Chinese from coming here, the 105,000 Chinese pushed back. We weren't just victims, but we pushed back. We sued the federal government more than 10,000 times. This is 10% of the Chinese in America in 1882 for 2 decades. 1 out of 10 sued the federal government and brought about 30 of these cases to the Supreme Court and won many of them, giving to all Americans right to a public education, even if you're an immigrant, birthright citizenship, that if you're born here, you're an American citizen. The Chinese want this for everybody. Equal protection under the law. Yick Law versus Hopkins in 1886. This is the core of American civil rights. All Americans believe in equal protection under the law. And this was the Chinese case, Supreme Court case, to win this, saying that the equal protection under the law means the execution and the administration of the law has to be equal. So the Chinese want this. How about political asylum? When did America first think about political asylum? The first time America thought about political asylum was for the Pershing Chinese, the Chinese that helped General Pershing in Mexico in 1916. And after helping the Americans, when Pershing came back to the US, he knew the Mexican will kill the Chinese that helped the Americans. So he brought the Chinese to America with him. But because of the 1882 Exclusion Act, the Chinese could not come in. So Pershing went to Congress, passed Public Law 29. First time this country considered political asylum for these people that helped the American military. And so even political asylum, the Chinese got for all of America. In fact, Miranda Act, when you arrest someone, you have to read them their rights. And everybody thought this is the 1966 Supreme Court case. If you were to read the 1966 Supreme Court case, it'll refer you to the Zhang Songwan versus the U.S. Supreme Court case in 1924. It was already decided in 1924 that the accused must have their rights. But that murder case was in Washington, D.C., so it was only applicable to federal jurisdiction. So when Miranda Act came around, they just applied it to state, county, and municipality for all of America. But the case was a Chinese case. And as recently as 1974, this community here in San Francisco, the Chinese community, sued the Board of Education to teach classes, bilingual classes, because the immigrant Chinese students that came, when they're taught math, science, and history in English, they didn't understand a thing. They just arrived. So this community forced the Board of Education to teach these classes in Chinese, the students' original language, for a year or two until they understand English, so they won't fall behind their classmates. And after a year or two, they can join the regular classes. So this is now true for all of America, that if you have enough students for a class, you must provide bilingual education. So this community, the Chinese, changed the laws in America and changed America's thinking, the values, from very early on, much before almost anyone else. These civil rights cases, immigrant cases, were all done right here 75 years ago. Most people don't know, even the Chinese don't know, that the Chinese changed the laws of America, made America better than what it was, and it's the community to get together to raise the money, hire the best lawyer, help each other. If you look at the people that were victims of these cases, they were poor, they had no money, but it took the community to raise the money to support them and hire the best lawyer to push back. And this is what this community has done. Within 24 square block of where I'm standing, that we call Chinatown, we have a lot of problems. We have very high density living. Next to Manhattan, San Francisco, Chinatown is #2. And we don't have the high riser. We have poverty here. But we also have 300 organizations in 24 square block to help the immigrant Chinese here. Family Association, District Association, Tongs, and nonprofits to help these people get started and become Americans. And you will find they're poor. They live in single resident occupancy houses where it's about 10 feet by 10 feet. But you will find most of the kids end up at our best universities, because that's why they're here. And these are some of the values that are in this community that I think we should let people know and have other communities adopt, because these values are very, very helpful in being successful in life.